Welcome to Reddit Blue Pill Red Pill, where we go over Reddit stories and predict the outcome of the stories. Please listen and play along by typing in your choices into the comments. There are 5 seconds to answer, or you can pause the video. Today, we have an update to a story we featured a few days ago about a man whose wife quit her job because she wanted to be a stay-at-home wife. The link to the first video is in the description. Alright, let's get on to the story. First of all, I just want to thank you guys for the overwhelming support I have received. I've received a ton of messages, but please be patient with me. This week has definitely been tough on me. This whole family drama has definitely taken a toll on me physically and mentally. I just want to add a few crucial details that I missed to mention in my original post. I suffer from a genetic heart condition that puts me at risk to stress-induced cardiac arrest. I used to work full-time but was forced to cut down on my work after suffering a silent heart attack. This was nearly a decade ago, but since then I've worked on my own physical and mental well-being. Some people didn't understand me constantly mentioning why it was such an issue working the extra 20%. I honestly don't know how much time I have left, and my kids are the most important things in my life. For my own mental health, it's essential that I get to spend time with my kids throughout the week. Besides my wife and kids, I have nothing. I hate my job and purely continue for the sake of my kids and wife. The OP is giving an update to his previous post, which was around a week before this current post. For a quick recap, the OP's wife had been asking him to allow her to quit her job so she could be a stay-at-home wife. The OP already covers 80% of all household expenses, so his wife's contributions was already not that much anyway, and they both acknowledged that he could cover all expenses in full since his job pays way more than what his wife earns. They could not agree, but his wife just ended up quitting her job anyway without consulting the OP. Now we see why the OP was insistent on his wife not quitting her job. The OP has a genetic heart condition, and he had previously suffered a heart attack, and now tries to manage his stress levels because that is the main contributor to a future attack. But if his wife puts the full load of all household expenses on him, even if he could afford it, he feels he is putting himself in a spot where he might trigger another heart attack. For those who heard his story from the previous video, what do you think? Does this new information change your stance on whether the OP should have just taken on the full load of the house bills and allowed his wife to be a stay-at-home wife? If you think the OP was right to ask his wife to keep her job, type Q1 blue in the comments. If you think the OP is being dramatic and things wouldn't be that much different if he took on the additional 20% of the house bills, type Q1 red. Well, after spending a day at my parents' house, eventually I felt enough time had passed for me to gather my thoughts on everything. What she did seemed like the ultimate slap in the face, but I went back with the intention to resolve this and didn't want to escalate this nightmare. My wife seemed happy I returned, but wasn't apologetic at all. The kids, especially my son, were ecstatic. That sort of made me ignore the lack of remorse for the time being. That same night, after putting my kids to bed, I told her we need to have a serious discussion. The OP caved and went back to his home after a day of contemplation. His kids were ecstatic to see him, of course. They thought they had been abandoned by the OP. If you recall, the son called the OP crying and asking why he was divorcing his mother. We speculated if the wife had put the son up to make this call, but there's no definitive confirmation still. But the comments from the previous post were pretty unanimous that she had manipulated the son to make the call. His wife is happy to see the OP return to the house, but she is still not apologizing for quitting her job in secret without consulting the OP. I guess she still thinks she either did nothing wrong or what she did was no big deal and the OP is making a mountain out of a molehill. What do you think? Should the OP's wife had been apologetic to the OP for how she handled things regarding quitting her job? If so, type Q2 blue in the comments. If you think the OP was the one who was overdramatic and he shouldn't have expected an apology, type Q2 red. I told her how I felt about everything she did. The fact that she knows about my health condition and still went through with it. The fact that I set clear boundaries and she still chose to quit her job without my consent. How the fact that she told my son that I was going to abandon the family really felt like a stab in the back. How throughout all of this, she didn't even seem remorseful once. The fact that she chose her own happiness to the detriment of mine. The fact I sacrificed so much for the family and I got repaid like this. The fact that we now as a family have to make major lifestyle changes since a third of our family income vanished. For a split second, I saw an ounce of sadness in her eyes before she went right back to being annoyed with me. I then simply told her to lay out her half of the story. Here is a summary of what she said. She felt ignored by me, constantly rejecting her proposal. She had worked long enough, and this was finally the time for her to enjoy her life as a true wife. She also said that I was being a baby about the whole spending extra time with the kids thing. That really pissed me off, and we ended up getting into a heated argument. I couldn't bear any of it anymore and just ended up sleeping in the guest room. The couple discussed the matter further, and the OP told her that he felt that his wife was placing herself over him, that she didn't take into consideration the added stress on his health problems, and how she weaponized their children. The wife replied back that she felt ignored and invalidated by the OP for never hearing her out and always rejecting her desire to be a stay-at-home wife. But if the OP was against the idea of her quitting her job, then what else is there to discuss? Did the wife maybe mention how she could do a side hustle from home to make up part of the difference? Or maybe she did and the OP never mentioned it in his posts. What do you think? Does his wife have a point that the OP ignored her and did not make an honest attempt to hear her out, or is she gaslighting the OP? If you think the wife truly felt ignored, type Q3 blue in the comments. If you think she is gaslighting the OP, type Q3 red. Until yesterday, nothing changed. She constantly tried to play everything off and wanted to embrace her new role by constantly trying to have sex with me and by making me my favorite dishes. It just felt like she was trying to manipulate me again, and I wasn't having any of it. I just kept on sleeping in the guest room. Well, my birthday was yesterday, and after work, my wife and kids picked me up and we ate dinner together. This was probably the first time I genuinely had a smile on my face in a week. Well, that smile vanished because she tried to seduce me again later that night. I rejected her, and to my surprise, she had a full-on mental breakdown. I just held her as she started apologizing for what she did. She claimed she didn't understand how much she hurt me. She was sorry for making me feel like an afterthought, etc. We ended up sleeping in the same bed yesterday. I felt like things were finally moving in the right direction, and I again asked her about searching for a new job today. Instead of getting mad, she just replied with a, "I need to think about it." After several more days of fighting, the OP's wife finally had a breakdown and apologized to the OP. Her apology seemed sincere since she reiterated all the points the OP had mentioned, like how she didn't realize how much the OP was truly hurt by her actions and how she made him feel unappreciated. This all sounds great, but when the OP diverted the conversation back to his wife finding a new job, she said she will get back to him on that. So is she truly sorry or what? How can you say you are sorry for hurting your husband and being inconsiderate to him, but then make no effort to right the wrongs you admit you have committed? When I have gotten apologies, I have always said if you don't follow that up with a change in actions, then it was not truly an apology. It was just empty words. So is the wife manipulating the OP again, or will she come around and find a new job? What do you think? If you think the wife is being manipulative and has no plans to get a new job, type Q4 red in the comments. If you think she will have an honest change of heart and will get a new job, type Q4 blue. Yeah, that's where things are as of today. It feels like progress is being made, but I don't know. This just might be another manipulation tactic of hers. I'll probably make a final update in a month or so. Reddit isn't doing my mental health any favors. How would you guys move forward in this situation? Could I have done something better? Is she being genuine? Into those incels who constantly bring up Islam as a way to justify her behavior, please shut the f up. The couple have, for the most part, reconciled and are speaking to each other and communicating better, but the OP still feels his wife will not get a new job and is being manipulative again. Maybe two things can be true at once. Maybe his wife is regretful of the hurt she has caused the OP, but she isn't willing to give up her stay-at-home wife status. Maybe she truly feels she can make up to the OP by being a more doting wife now that she is at home full-time, and if the OP gives her a chance, she can change his mind. We can't say she isn't trying to dote on the OP, she's doing an effort to show him the benefits he will receive from having her as a stay-at-home wife. But if the OP truly feels the extra stress of the full house bills will cause him too much internal turmoil, then nothing his wife can do will be sufficient to surpass that. We have come to the conclusion of this update and have to decide who is the a-hole. Is the OP the a-hole for insisting on making his wife return to work when she's clearly not budging and he isn't giving her a chance to dote on him and feel the benefits of having a stay-at-home wife? If so, type Q5 blue in the comments. If you think the wife is the a-hole and she is not genuine at all in her apology to the OP, type Q5 red. Now let's listen to a few comments.
Do not take any more hours at work or change your schedule at all. Keep doing what's best for you and make other changes around the house as needed to make up for the lack of income. If you pick up more hours, she will see that you can, and in her mind will further justify her actions were okay. She for sure won't make any effort to find a job after that. Instead, cut out frivolous things she does with money since she's the one who gave up her part of the income, like getting her nails done, hair done, buying extra clothing and accessories that aren't a necessity. She can cut costs and do some of those at home for a fraction of the price. Tell her that she needs to start clipping coupons and buying things on sale and not at full price. If she wants to not contribute financially, then she will need to contribute more than just making food, cleaning the house, and trying to have sex with you all the time. She will have to sacrifice living at the level of comfort she has grown accustomed to, because the money for it isn't there anymore.
If she wants to be a Tradwife, she can start making clothes.
And growing and canning vegetables. Do you actually think she's looking for a job? Here's a hint. She's not. As far as she's aware, you folded, she won. She doesn't need to work anymore, and you're footing all the bills.
She's still manipulating you. The seduction didn't work. Out come the crocodile tears. You need to fortify your boundaries and recognize she's just looking for chinks in your armor.
She's still manipulating you. Throwing her body at you didn't work, so she resorted to a pity party of tears and empty apologies. See, I can get his attention one way or the other. Adding your health issues to the story brings another layer of complexity that just makes your wife look like an awful, terrible, heartless woman. Her sounds like a narcissist, honestly. She will literally drive you into the ground and hold the shovel waiting. Do you have life insurance policies by chance?
I'd point out that the husband of a Tradwife makes all of the decisions, so you will have to decide how to cut 1/3 of expenses from the budget. You can begin with no gas in her car. If need be, you can sell it. That also saves on car insurance and maintenance. Next, it is spring and time to plant a garden. She needs to get going on it because a tiny garden isn't going to feed a family. I grew up on a farm, and our garden was a half-acre. My mom tried to grow all the produce that would grow locally, and she would can and freeze it. Your wife should get to work. It will take a lot of time to till up that much ground and get it planted. She can sew clothes and knit sweaters. You will buy the kids shoes and boots, but she can do the rest. There's no money in the budget for takeout and no money for restaurants and probably no money for after-school activities. I feel sorry for your kids because it is very hard to make ends meet when you lose 1/3 of your income. I would not lie to the kids about why there is no money for their activities. Mom quit her job, so money is very tight. We are doing the best we can. Don't denigrate Mom, but don't sugarcoat it either. Ask her what she thought your family would do without when you lost 1/3 of your income. Tell her that if the kids are going without, you won't be able to respect her. You married a partner who quit. She seems to think that being a Tradwife is doing some cooking and having sex. It is a tremendous amount of work trying to garden, raise chickens, sew, cook, and all of the other things that need to be done. I'd ask why she hasn't started a garden yet. Why isn't she sewing yet? Has she started knitting the socks and sweater for next winter? When does she think she will get them done?
Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching all the way to the end and participating. Please consider liking and subscribing to watch future videos. Goodbye.